Welcome, Julie.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Thanks for coming back in. Already talking over
I
me.
know.
Listen, Julie's brand new book, by the way, you can still get it just in time for Christmas. From Cupcakes to Chemicals, How the Culture of Alarmism Makes Us Afraid of Everything, and How to Fight Back.
Would you care to demonstrate the stocking stuffer
The
quality of it?
Look at that. Fold right up, and then boop, it's perfectly back to normal. It's
Awesome.
perfectly straight.
Yes.
It doesn't retain the fold.
Well designed for Christmas.
Absolutely.
That was intentional.
Absolutely. It's a gift that just screams love. I love you, and I don't want you to be afraid. Right?
That's right.
So what should we not be afraid of today?
Well, my latest column in National Review is on how anti-GMO activists target mothers, try to scare them. This is genetically modified organisms, which are in the news a lot lately. A lot of activist groups are spreading sort of fear, saying they're poison, that they cause all sorts of allergies, infections, they can really harm us. There has yet to be one study out that in any way connects GMOs to any harm. So, part of what I write about is things that you don't need to be too scared of, and this is one of them. So that was the latest article in National Review.
Okay. Yeah, and it's fascinating because, now raising pigs and growing, heirloom tomatoes and stuff, yeah. I see this debate. I think I've said before in the program, I'm not anti-GMO. I recognize actually that there have been some very beneficial developments.
Yeah.
And basically, when you talk about different varieties of tomatoes, we're going through the seed catalogs right now.
Right.
And so it's fascinating because last year we had 2 different seed catalogs. This year, I think we have somehow 6 or 7.
They know you bought a farm.
Know. And it was really interesting because one of them that I was looking at over the weekend actually had a legend of symbols that you could refer to because this seed is organic, this seed is heirloom, this seed is a hybrid, this seed is GMO, this seed, and so this is a very big issue for, I think, a very small number of people.
Yeah, but what you're actually demonstrating is that farmers and individuals like me, I have a small plot in my backyard. It's not very successful, but I try every year to grow things in the backyard. Mm-hmm. That we have choices,
right?
And farmers, farmers want a lot of choices, and we should give farmers, the choices between GMO and organic or non-GMO or whatever they want. And most farmers agree they want a lot of choices, and that's what the biotech gives people. The other thing is if you think you're eating the tomato that people were eating, 500 years ago, you're crazy because they've been doing essentially genetic modification, though slowly and inaccurately, by splicing and by doing things by hand. This has been going on for thousands of years. So this is just, frankly, what genetic modification allows us to do is to do it more accurately, to do it quicker. And look, it's a really promising technology. I'm not saying it's going to, we're all going to live on Easy Street now, but this is another tool that farmers should have.
Oh, absolutely. And here's the thing. I have no problem with labeling, but I also have no problem. Let's right along. Don't do that.
Labeling? You have to. Well, it's
I have
fine.
no problem with I have no problem with the seed catalog saying, "Hey, look, this is the GMO
voluntarily,
seed."
Voluntarily.
Right.
Yes.
But right along with that, there needs to be education of what it is that we're actually talking about. Because if you just slap a label on that says this contains GMOs, people are going to go, GMOs, and they shouldn't.
Well, and that's an interesting debate that you're sort of touching on. In the GMO labeling sort of debate, there's some concern that if you say this contains GMOs, because people don't know about it and because there's so much inaccurate fear-mongering out there, that it's essentially like putting a skull and crossbones.
Right, exactly. And that would be that would be bad because it's not the case. What they need to do is they need to rebrand it. They need to rebrand, and maybe you can get away with GMOs. Maybe you need a new campaign, but it needs to be food of the future, right?
Very Jetsons.
So you have your heirloom vegetables, right? For those who want to live in the past, those who want to eat like Grandpa ate.
I think we call you people retro hipsters.
Exactly. And then you have food of the future.
This is excellent.
And I think people would want that.
You have a real future in food marketing, Cam.
Well, I mean,
I don't know what you're doing here.
I love my job.
That was good.
But I'm happy to talk with any food executives about the food of the future concept, if they would like.
Right.
Because really, look, and it just strikes me as odd because these are people who, generally speaking, who are concerned and sometimes violently opposed to GMOs. If you ask them, how do you label yourself? Generally speaking, many of them might say, well, I'm very progressive.
Right.
But when it comes to
Food.
actual technological progress in terms
Yeah.
of making food, again, doing, as you say, the things that we've been doing slowly and imperfectly and clumsily and awkwardly for thousands of years.
Yeah. And look, it's interesting because you tend to think anti-GMO is a very left-wing activist sort of movement, but there's quite a lot of what you would call sort of the Christian evangelical sort of right of center folks that also there's large pockets of them that oppose vaccinations, they oppose GMOs, and the idea is we shouldn't mess with sort of God's creation. Look, I have a lot of respect for people's different views on these things. What I want people to do is follow the science, because the science always wins. And the science tells you there have been there's been thousands of studies on GMOs, but there have been independent, because everybody immediately goes, well, there's a government and industry, but there are actually independent studies that are not funded by industry that have hundreds of them that have shown GMOs to be perfectly safe. And I know that someone out there is listening and going, but what about Seralini and what about the pig gut study? And these have all been shown. The Seralini.
That was not going to be me.
Yeah,
I'm like,
the Seralini study was recently retracted. It had to be retracted from the journal that
I know
it was
the
published
Sara
in.
Lee coffee
Yes,
cakes.
no. That's
Those
not
are
the one I'm
wonderful.
talking about. I know I'm getting you're going to tell me this is really boring, but I think that people need to know the truth out there, and the science is really certifying that GMOs are completely safe. I mean, we can have an argument about there are different arguments about labeling, but as to whether they are safe, we're done. They're going to continue to study this, and they're going to continue to certify and see if this is safe. But really, the science is pretty clear. Thousands of studies have shown that GMOs are safe, and we have yet to have one example where the eating of GMO foods has caused any harm to humans.
What about when they crossed the Venus flytrap with the prune? I thought that was kind of a
Could be
mistake.
some finger injuries.
But,
yes, indeed.
Other than that, I
Yeah.
think it's been pretty, well
Now
thought
back
out.
to science. Anyway,
Feed me, Seymour. Little Shop of Horrors. I think that's the image that sort of the anti-GMO folks
I don't
do
laugh
like to
a lot
sort
in
of conjure up,
conversations
right?
about GMOs, except
Really?
with you. So this is new. It's a pretty.
Well, there you go. Either I'm not taking it
No, you're just-
seriously enough,
or
or
you're bored. Sorry, throwing in a few jokes.
No,
These are the
not
jokes.
bored at all. All right, listen. How can folks get the new book, From Cupcakes to Chemicals: How the Culture of Alarmism Makes Us Afraid of Everything, and How to Fight Back?
It's available on Amazon.
That's a long title.
I've been shortening it to From Cupcakes to Chemicals, and people are like, huh? Anyway, it's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You can also go to iwf.org, and there's a link there. So
All right, I'm going to call it Cup Chem.
nice. I hope that doesn't stick.
Julia Gunlock, thanks so much. We'll see you not next week.
I know.
But we'll see you soon.
Good.
All right, thanks again.